So let's get to the point to give you an understanding of what I've gone through. I'm Jack, 35 years old, working at a private firm. I live with my wife Hannah, 32 years old. We decided to get married after 5 years of relationship, and it was necessary to officially tie the knot. We were also living happily after the marriage as 2 years had passed. So I would say that there was no issues between us from the very start of our marriage. We used to go out and would enjoy our time together in love. On the day of the first anniversary of our marriage, she gave me the good news that she is pregnant. I was elated to receive this news and hugged her. She was very happy with the way I was treating her. You know that pure intimacy demands mental connections, so we had developed our connection for 7 years, and so was intimacy and love between us. But then over time, our spark was fading away, whatsoever the reason was. I think it was due to the busy schedule of my work. I would tell her that I apologized for being so busy more often and couldn't give her due attention. She understood what I was trying to say to her. So she told me that I do not have to worry about this and she's satisfied as long as I am with her. About 1 week ago, we got into a fight when I got home late after work. She had to go for her monthly checkup due to pregnancy, and I was busy at work and couldn't accompany her to the clinic. For 2 hours, I tried to explain to her that I was extremely busy at work on this very day and couldn't manage to visit. Hearing this, she went off and shouted at me like how I am careless and a selfish person. You seem quite pleased with yourself, don't you? Oh, I am pleased with us, okay? I told her, but she did not want to listen to any of this. Honestly, I was dumbfounded after this, so I also got angry in return and shouted at her like how she is not understanding what I am trying to tell her. She was not even getting my point, or might not want to get it. Then we just stopped talking to each other. Next week, our friends had dinner at our house to congratulate us on my wife's pregnancy, and we couldn't think of anything else besides this event. The party went very well, but still we did not talk to each other. The next week went by and we did not talk or do anything. Now, one of our friends from school days was scheduled to visit us from another city due to some official work, and she had to stay at our house for 1 or 2 weeks. One afternoon, she called me and just told me to pick up her friend from the airport. I drove to the airport, and while I was waiting for her to appear, I saw her friend coming out towards me with a guy. Quickly, I went to welcome them, and she introduced the guy as her boyfriend. I didn't care what to react at that time because we did not know about her boyfriend coming along, or at least I did not know. I took them to our house, and when I reached there, I was stunned to see that my wife ABS knew about her boyfriend. But I remained quiet. One day after work, it's the day before Christmas, as I get home, and she was dressed very appealingly and tells me that she's going out with her friend. I said okay, so I stayed at home alone because her boyfriend also went along with them, and they both got home at 4 a.m. The next morning, I was out of control for such irresponsible behavior. How she could go out till that time with a pregnancy of almost 7 months. She should take care of herself. I was also feeling annoyed to see my wife being so frank with that guy. She told me that since I was not talking to her for so many days, that's why she has every right to enjoy her life. Eventually, I had to make up with her considering our married relationship and our baby. So at that point, I started talking to her, and not how we normally would, but I tried to do minor things to make her happy. Every night, I started to sit with her and our guest to enjoy those beautiful evenings. But at this time, I was quite disturbed to look at how that guy was so open with my wife. They would freely touch each other's shoulders. I wanted to ask my wife what bullshit was going on between them, but did not because we recently had started to talk with each other. My instinct at that time told me something is up, but I wanted to wait for the day when our baby would be born. One day as I was at work, she called me, and when I picked up, she asked when I will be home. I told her that I'll be free at 5 p.m. But then she told me that she was going out for lunch with her friend at a restaurant and will be home before evening. I said okay, so I decided to go home early and cook something for dinner to surprise her. Then I left work at 3 p.m. and when I reached home, I saw her friend was asleep. She was suddenly awake as I opened the door to her room. I asked for my wife and she told me that her boyfriend and my wife both have gone as that guy had some work to attend to at the bank. So my wife was accompanying him. Listening to this, I was out of my mind, but I tried to cool my mind down. I just went to my room and slept. In the evening, my wife came to me and was feeling sorry for not telling me the truth. Why you had to tell me this lie? I always try to make you happy and never intended to hurt you at any time, yet you've done this to me. She told me that her friend was also going with them, but at the very last moment she excused herself due to a headache. That's why they had to go alone. I believed whatever she was telling me. Very unbelievable. It's been 2 weeks now that her friend is staying at our house. On many occasions, I just feel like that she had developed something with that guy, but I did not want to believe what I was thinking. I just had to take care of her in those days due to her maternity situation. But I noticed something, that her friend would often want my attention. She would look at me every time she told some joke or wanted my views on anything. I would deal with her as everyone had to with a friend of one's wife. One day we all went to the market for some shopping and then at some shop, she purchased a dress. But before being purchased, she asked me directly whether it will match her skin tone or not. At first I was soundless because I did not know how to react, but then quickly I told her to ask my wife as she had a wonderful choice of dresses or clothes. When we returned, my wife teased me about how her friend was seeing at me or how she wanted my opinion on everything. But I strictly rejected her thoughts and asked her not to talk like this again. And then something happened on the weekend which not only made me look ashamed of myself, but I also wanted these guests to leave our house. As I was asleep and my wife had gone to our neighbor's house, I felt someone whispering my name in my ear. When I opened my eyes, I saw my voice friend bend down towards my face and looking at me smiling. As the lights were off, I could still easily feel the redness of her cheeks. Immediately, I got up and asked what she was doing in my room. She told me that she likes me and then suddenly she hugged me. I instantly parted myself from her and asked her to go out of my room and never do this again because I love my wife and would never betray her. She went out, but her words still had fears in my mind. Okay, I'm going, but you will see by yourself when you would learn the reality. She said and quickly went out before I could ask anything. The next morning when I woke up, I saw her friend was leaving with her boyfriend. My wife requested I drop them off at the airport. On our way to the airport, we remained silent and did not talk about anything. Whenever I saw her friend, she just was lost in ambience. After dropping them off, I went to my job, but still I remembered her face. Then my wife and I both got busy as God had blessed us with a baby boy. We were only engaged in that little and innocent creature. We often had to wake up most of the night trying to calm him. He became our lifeline and we couldn't think much of anything else. My wife was also happy as I left no stone unturned in making her happy. I gave her the love and care she wanted and needed, and what I wanted in return was her sincerity and commitment to our relationship. I assumed she was playing her part of the deal very well. My life was going well until one day thoughts turned unfavorable for me. To congratulate us on our baby, the same friend of my wife who had visited us before also came along with her boyfriend. They wanted to stay at the hotel, but my wife insisted that they stay at our home as it will make us comfortable. That night I woke up and felt thirsty as I went to the kitchen for water, and then suddenly her friend came from behind and put her arms around me. "What are you doing?" I was angry. "I am doing what I wanted to do from the day I saw you," she told me while making her arms tight around me. "Go back to your room or I'll call your boyfriend." I tried to open up her arms. She unwillingly went back, but I could see anger on her face. I did not get the last idea how this was going to ruin my married life. I was confident that I've turned away everything due to my love for my wife, but some things come into your life from where you did not expect. It's been 3 months since our child was born, and we've been together without going through any kind of fight. We were giving each other due attention and care, but I felt that she was sad or distant from me sometimes. I asked her this a few times, but she would not say anything and would always smile. As I work in a private firm as an accounts manager, so I never had to go out of the city. But this time my boss asked me to visit our regional office in another city where I also had to stay for 3 or 4 days. At first I told him that I couldn't go as my wife would be alone, yet he told me that no other than me could scrutinize the account details thoroughly. So I told my wife on the same night that I would be going tomorrow and will return after 4 days. She told me not to worry about anything and that she can manage everything. The next day I went to the office, and then after work, my team went to the regional office. I spent 4 days there being busy with this hectic financial work and couldn't talk much with my wife. After finishing work there, as I got back, I was missing my family too much. Another thing, my wife and I would celebrate each other's birthdays every year, but this year, she wanted to invite some friends over to our place for my birthday. At first, I told her that I did not want to make this event public, but she told me that it would make her happy, that's why I agreed. She invited some of her female friends from our neighborhood, and I invited a few of my colleagues. I was so happy to see how she had organized this event so planned and flawlessly. As the event was going by very well, I received a video message from an unknown number on my phone. As I opened the message, I saw my wife's naked in the video and having intimate adult moments with some guy. That guy's face was not visible in the video. I wanted to slap my wife at the moment and murmured every abusive name to her, but I did not get up to do any of this as all the guests were having celebration. They were celebrating the birthday party. I just texted back to that unknown number, "How dare you send this video to me? I told you once, the reality is not what it seems." I was shocked as I remembered that this was told by my wife's friend. "Who the fuck are you and where did you get this video?" I asked. She told me that they had an affair from the first time they met and she had transferred this video from her boyfriend's phone. The video was made on the day when I was away from home for some days due to official work. All the guests went back to their homes. I opened video on my mobile and gave it to my wife. Her face was pale and couldn't utter a word. "You can live in my house till the court would decide on the baby, and then you had to leave. I couldn't send my boy to live with you because you're just a selfish puss and would think of your bullshit desires only." She just sat there with her head down while I went inside my room.